Me llamo Harry, soy de Inglaterra. Antes de vivir aquí en El Salvador, vivo en Alemania y Inglaterra. Soy fotógrafo, estaba trabajando en moda, música. The finca is called La Cruz. It's in Berlín Usulután, which is the east side of El Salvador. This is 1,000 meters. Being here, it's widened the whole world to such an extent that now it's just my life. It's a total obsession. If I have a coffee, I live right there. I just come down here, or for the sunset, I'll just come here with a cup of coffee, surrounded by coffee plants. I am totally immersed in coffee right now. I'm really enjoying it, actually, getting to know more and more and more, because it's like it never ends. It just keeps getting more broad and more interesting. And the people that I meet in coffee, I can tell that they feel the same. And that's what I have in common with them. It's that sort of interest in just keep going further and further into this incredible commodity. And then moving here with this project, this coffee project, it's been a very good way of me basically documenting what I do. In terms of why I chose El Salvador, simply because the opportunity came to me and I was at a point in my life where I was ready for an adventure. So I just thought I'd go and check it out. It wasn't my plan. I moved to Mexico, or I left England just after the COVID had sort of like died down. I was learning Spanish at the time and I wanted to work in coffee. Prem, who's my friend and associate who I bought the land with, he found the plot and he came to me and he just said, how do you fancy buying a coffee farm, an abandoned coffee farm in El Salvador? My plans were so loose that it made sense to come and visit because it's just 2 hours away from Mexico City, which is where I was. It was more of an excuse to visit El Salvador because I wanted to see this place. It's an interesting place for many reasons. One of which is the fact that you can use Bitcoin here. Many people don't understand Bitcoin all over the world, less so in England, I would say. From my experience, from the places that I've been, mostly Europe, El Salvador is way further ahead. I feel like every single person that you meet here, every merchant, they at least recognize that it's a viable alternative to dollars. In the UK, like, it's just a flat out no. Like, they'd kind of laugh at you if you asked if you can pay with it. Here, it's either yes or it's no, but maybe one day. It's in the consciousness of people here, definitely. And that makes it interesting for me because with this project, before I moved here, I recognized I would have to incorporate Bitcoin into any project like that. It's to sort of future-proof myself because that's coming around the corner where it might not be an option, you might have to. It's a totally new concept. You can't compare it to anything else that's ever existed. To imagine a future where everyone's using it is really hard. People call it digital gold, but it isn't. I mean, it's still totally different and the technology within it is obviously quite hard to understand. But in terms of how I got involved, it was COVID that gave me the free time, essentially, to become obsessed. I was living back in the UK and I had nothing to do where I'm from. I was back in my hometown. So I just spent a lot of time researching it. And the more I researched it, the more I realized that this is really, really important. A massive invention that's going to really impact the world. As soon as you recognize that, you know, that's it really. You don't turn back. You realize, well, you have to incorporate it into your life, whatever you're doing. Because if you don't, you're being foolish, I suppose. If you believe it's going to be something which becomes a dominant force financially. So that's what happened here. It's very organic. So I came mainly as an excuse just to check the place out. But then when I came to the finca, I fell in love and I thought, wanting to work in coffee, what better way to start than having a plot of land with coffee growing on it? It felt like the sensible thing to do. Oh, it's developed to the point where I'm here living on a coffee farm. So I guess it's quite extreme. I've always liked coffee. I think when you get a bit older, your tastes become a bit more refined maybe. And coffee is one of those products which allows for a real culture around it. And that's what's interesting to me. But my personal habits with coffee is basically just drinking all morning and then, yeah, every morning. How many? Oh my God, it can be a lot. I read the other day that Voltaire used to have 40 cups of coffee a day. I'm not at that level, but I don't know, 10, something like that. I became more and more interested in the different types of coffee you get. You spend so much time in coffee shops, which I always have actually. The culture of just going to a cafe with a book and just reading and just ordering a coffee, that for me like was such a perfect lifestyle. Eventually you start to notice the different flavors and you gradually become more and more like interested in the nuances of the product. Where I was born was like this. I spent my whole childhood in an agricultural setting. I mean, all of our neighbors were basically farmers, and then our plot of land was just a nursery with rows and rows of beautiful chrysanthemums. I have some really cool photographs actually. The first time I saw the property, none of this was accessible. It was like one path into, not right into the finca, but like maybe just 100 meters in that was cut out just to show me and that everything else was inaccessible. And also the coffee, I had no idea about coffee plants really at the time. I'd just done a course in Mexico. It wasn't in depth. So I didn't know what kind of coffee we had. I didn't know if it was good. It was about just taking a bit of a gamble, really. It was a gamble, just sort of hoping that it would be manageable. Since then, we've just kept working on it. That was about 1.5 years ago. It's gradually removing the weeds, making space for the coffee plants, and getting it into the shape that it's in now. The coffee plants you see now, they were totally submerged in vines and weeds. Yeah, it was just a jungle basically, so we've had to clear it all out. And then the process of buying it went very smoothly. We had a good lawyer. I had to just put my faith in a lot of people really, people who I'd never met before, and it turned out quite well. The management of the farm is done by Miguel. Ever since day one, basically. Without him, it would have been a lot more difficult because he's got a lot of experience. And we found him very early. He happens to be from this exact area. So he was really interested in seeing the place back to, its former glory, because it used to be a working coffee farm. A lot of work, especially as we're organic. We haven't used any chemicals. Here we have to do it by hand. So it's a lot of work. So it's just step by step. My time horizon is sort of 5 years minimum, really. From seed to harvest, it's about 3 years for a coffee plant. So everything that we plant now, we're not going to see for a while, but we're not going to plant everything now. So we're talking, 5, 6, 7, 8 years before it's kind of where you want it to be. So it's 4 manzanas, but probably only about 2.5 manzanas worth of coffee. So I arrived, but the coffee was ready to be harvested, so we just went straight into the harvest. I had no experience of harvesting, recruiting pickers, things like that. It was all left to Miguel. It's a mix. So 8 years ago, these plants were planted, and they're mostly Cuscatleco, which is a leaf rust resistant varietal from El Salvador. But there are older plants from back when, the farm was at its peak, let's say. There's a water tank. They used to do washed process. It was a fully functioning farm. The plants left over from its early days are still to be found further down. We have Bourbon, Típica, Pacas, Pacamara, I have been told a little bit somewhere. We've got to find a way of making the existing plants work for the coffee project. We want to experiment. There's no clear, obvious answers to which varietals are going to work best here. Everybody I speak to, experts, roasters, baristas, everyone has given me a totally different answer, which is kind of exciting because it means there's no right answer. So we're going to have to experiment, try different types and see what really works here, at this altitude. I would like everything to be organic. I think I'm happy to fight nature as needed to maintain higher quality produce, because the more we learn about chemicals, the more we realize that they are damaging in every way, and keeping it away from production, I feel almost a responsibility to do it as well. I will feel better selling a product knowing, and one of the reasons for having the Finca is that when I sell coffee, I can say exactly with confidence what we've done on the farm. There's nothing hidden. I know everything. And that for me is a better position to be selling a product. I've been pleasantly surprised at the response I've had from Miguel, the farm manager. He's totally on board. In fact, it may well have been him that originally suggested that we maintain the organic status. When you speak to the workers, they totally get it as well. There is, I would say, a trend towards that.
Y me alegra pues porque la realidad que ellos han venido a abrir fuentes de trabajo a El Salvador. El cultivo de café, la mayoría se ha perdido y estar pues de nuevo haciendo este trabajo para mí pues me siento que es un privilegio pues volver de nuevo a restablecerse los trabajos que antes eran muy valiosos. Pues fíjese que para mí siento que volver a nacer de nuevo en lo que es los cultivos de café es un orgullo para El Salvador. El café es bien importante.
What I've discovered, and I've made an effort to travel as much as I can within the country to visit farms and to meet as many people in coffee as possible, because I need to learn real quick how to manage this place. And what I found is everybody seems to understand that organic is the preferable way to farm. The question is money, because it costs more, it's more time consuming, it's more labor intensive. It's a big decision really to go organic because you're essentially making hard work for yourself. But my experience traveling around is that most farmers appreciate that it is preferable. I've been pleasantly surprised. Like I said, we had no idea what to expect really from the cup. so that it came out as a specialty coffee and with a good flavor, a really good flavor. We managed to harvest fairly well. The processing with what we had, it's very limited, the facilities we had, so it was hard. I've been impressed, and also inspires me as well to each year try and take it a bit higher by improving processing techniques. But it's very promising going forward, I would say. It's a good start.